Hello, YouTube world. It's opening weekend for the NFL, first weekend of the new NFL season, and I want to just talk to you a little bit about what's going on with that and what the script is telling us concerning that. So, Thursday night was the first NFL game, the opening game. And if you haven't already seen, the first touchdown of the new 104th NFL season, was scored by AMON-RA St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. And some interesting numbers to look at. It was a 9-yard touchdown reception, 9-yard reception on 3rd and 6. So it sticks out to us. We've got 9. That's Satan's number. We've got the 3rd and 6. That's, an obvious 666 there, 3 times 6. And what else was quite interesting about this was AMON-RA St. Brown wears number 14. And this is a really prominent number connected to the rapture. So no coincidences here, a lot of predictive programming. Here, just a little background on this. The Greek word harpazo has the strong number. For those that aren't familiar, strong number means Strong's Concordance, okay? Has a Strong's Concordance number 726 and appears, here you have it, 14 times in the New Testament. The English word rapture is derived from the Latin translation of the Greek harpazo, which means to seize, catch up, snatch away, rapture. And that's most commonly comes from the verse in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 17. So there you have it. And once again, Strong's number G726 matches the Greek harpazo, which occurs 14 times in the Greek, okay? The New Testament. So this number 14, G726, harpazo, the Greek for rapture, catching away, seized, taken away, caught up. It occurs 14 times in the Greek New Testament. So we see that number 14 is very symbolic and represents the rapture biblically. So no coincidence to see number 14 score on the very first touchdown this season. Some predictive programming coming right at you for the rapture. And we look at this guy's name, AMON-RA St. Brown, okay? Well, obviously, Ra, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, is the sun god, essentially Satan. Here we see, Ra, the god of the sun, the Egyptian sun god that is synonymous with Satan. And we're going to look at a few other things real quick with this. And we also see the name Ammon, in the New Kingdom, when the god Ammon rose to prominence, he was fused with Ra as Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra, okay? So I'm not going to read all this. I don't want to go that long in this video. You could check it out for yourself, but we see Amon-Ra, that literally is the name of the Egyptian sun god. And I'm not familiar with the specifics on this, with the molding of the name Ammon and Ra. Some others may be more familiar with it than me, with the use of the word Ammon. During the Middle Kingdom, Ra was increasingly affiliated and combined with other chief deities, especially Ammon and Osiris. And here we see God merged with Ra, Ammon and Amon-Ra. So I don't want to get into a real long uh, explanation of this, but you get the picture. You get the idea. Amon-Ra, it's the occult Egyptian sun god. It's satanic. You get the gist of it. So Amon-Ra, number 14, symbolizing rapture, scores the first touchdown of the season, 9-yard reception, 9, the number of Satan on 3rd and 6, 666. Here's another one. He's 23 years old. For those of you that are familiar with numerology in the occult, that number's 23 is huge. Think of Michael Jordan, obviously. 2 times 3 is 6, obviously. 23, a number very commonly used in the occult and Satanism. So what's interesting is Amon-Ra Brown has a brother named Osiris St. Brown. And, as we just looked at, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with our Osiris. Osiris, the god of the dead. Here when Ra was in the underworld, he merged with Osiris, the god of the dead. So these are Egyptian gods associated with Satan. And it's interesting to note here. So, by the way, Amon St. Brown, he went to college, I believe, at USC before playing for the Lions. Yep, he played his college football at Southern California, USC. We see his brother, Osiris St. Brown, the older brother, played his college football at Stanford, and it looks like he's not playing football anymore. He's a businessman now, but look at this. We see the number 9. Isn't that interesting? We see, I don't know if this is, I think this is maybe a high school picture, but there we see that number 9. Interestingly enough, number 9, Satan's number, just like the 9-yard touchdown reception that Amon-Ra St. Brown scored for the first touchdown of the year. And notice this, the jersey, Monarchs. I don't know, I'm thinking this is probably his high school jersey. Not sure on that, but Monarchs, like MK Ultra Monarch, MK Ultra Programming, the Monarchs. You see what I'm saying here? So the father of Amon St. Brown and John Brown, or excuse me, of Osiris St. Brown and Amon-Ra Brown is John Brown. So these two, John Brown has 2 sons, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Osiris St. Brown. They're both football players. John Brown, the father, was a famous bodybuilder. And you know what? Believe it or not, I actually remember this guy. When I was in high school, me and my buddies kind of got into into weightlifting and bodybuilding. Kind of a, common, thing to dabble in high school. Like how much you bench. We were all competing with each other for who could bench press the most, and that was when creatine was kind of first coming out and was a big thing, so we were taking creatine and bench pressing all the time and all this. So I remember this guy, John Brown. He was in a lot of fitness and bodybuilding magazines. Like, I think the name of one of them, like we read a magazine named Pump, or it was something like that. But me and some of my buddies from high school, we lift weights and we would read some of those bodybuilding magazines. We were trying to, figure out new exercises and trying to get bigger and all this. And so I remember this guy, John Brown, from back in the day. He won Mr. Universe twice in 81 and 82. So a prolific bodybuilder, and we see his 2 sons here, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Osiris St. Brown. Apparently, he's got another son, Equanimous, and I wonder what. So he looks like he is a wide receiver for the Bears, and he played college football at Notre Dame. So apparently, this is the oldest son of the three. So two out of the three are in the NFL. All three were, high-level Power Five conference football players. And what's interesting when you look at this, a family that of all these athletes, professional athletes, you wonder a little bit about, bloodline, Nephilim bloodline. I don't know for sure, but you kind of wonder about that kind of thing. And it's interesting with those names in particular, with you're naming your kids Ammon-Ra and Osiris, and you all are professional athletes. It would appear into the occult, so makes you wonder about bloodline. If this is Nephilim bloodline, I don't know. These names are not an accident, obviously. Ammon-Ra and Osiris. And here we see, Nimrod, I imagine you remember from the Bible, would be referred to as Osiris. Here we see Nimrod and a list of the names he's commonly referred to, depending on the country and the belief system. But, Nimrod goes hand in hand with Osiris. Whether they say Nimrod was Osiris or Osiris was the son of Nimrod. And Nimrod was a Nephilim. And Nimrod was also a black man. He was a descendant of Ham, if I'm not mistaken. And to my knowledge, the black people were the descendants of Ham, whereas white people were descendants of Japheth, and then you had the descendants of Shem. The people in the Middle East in present day. So, it's interesting because Nimrod was a Nephilim, okay? And I want to just play a quick clip. This is from a Bible study, I think 2 nights ago, where J.B. Watkins is talking about Nimrod and his Nephilim blood and how they came about. And you won't find this many places. A real interesting little snippet here from J.B. Watkins about Nimrod.
How it came around for Nimrod is exactly what Jurassic Park taught you it did. They extracted some DNA just like the mark of the beast, the genetic marker, and they pumped Nimrod they put him full of DNA from deceased Nephilim bodies. And he became a Gibberine, a giant himself. That's how it happened. Because God told us that the people he preserved on the ark were the human, 100% human genome. They were all pure in their genealogies, in their bloodlines. No Nephilim in them. And his purpose was not to destroy the earth, it was to wipe out the Nephilim, the perverse ones. Continuing on. Jehovah was a shield to the life of...
Okay, so it's quite interesting. There's a common false teaching out there. People wonder, well, how did the Nephilim bloodline live on after the flood? And there's a common false teaching, and JB was alluding to this, and Rob Skiba was one of them who's now passed away, who was teaching this false teaching that one of the wives of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, was Nephilim bloodline. That's incorrect. All 8 humans that were on that ark were pure human blood. And apparently what happened, how Nimrod became a Nephilim, was he was injected with Nephilim DNA from dead Nephilim corpses. May sound strange to you, but remember, their technology back then was way better than you think. These weren't some cavemen bumbling around. They had phenomenal technology back then. And so that's just a little background on Nimrod, who was a Nephilim himself. the first one to try to set up a one world order, a world political and religious system with Babel. And I don't want to get too far into this, um, and go long on this. But if you're interested, I talked more about this. It's probably been about 4 years. Here are the videos. Pagan Trinity plus Sun worship is used to deny Jesus Christ. 2 parts where I talk about, the Catholic Church, the roots based in paganism, with Nimrod, Semiramis, Tammuz, the false satanic trinity, the mystery Babylon religion. So, if you want more background on that, I went a lot deeper into that, and this has been something like 4 years ago. Pagan Trinity and Sun worship is used to deny Jesus Christ. So, Nimrod is first mentioned, I believe, in Genesis chapter 10, going through the genealogy. And then Genesis chapter 11 is where we read about the Tower of Babel that Nimrod set up. And I'm not going to read all through all this, but you guys are more than welcome to do that on your own time. So I'm sure some of you are obviously already familiar with the story. Nimrod was the first to try to become a world ruler, to try to set up a one world government and political system, and apparently married his mother, Semiramis, and then he died, and she apparently was pregnant with child by another man, and then she conceived the lie that she had actually been impregnated, that Nimrod went to the sun and became the sun god, and a ray of the sun impregnated her, and then she birthed Tammuz, whatever name you want to use. Some would use Osiris, and that's how you kind of a real brief summary of how you had that satanic false trinity of Father, Mother, Son, that to this day you see in the Catholic Church when you see those abominable idols of Mother Mary and baby Jesus. Well, that's not really Mother Mary and Jesus. That is Semiramis and Tammuz. And like I said, I go a lot deeper into that in these 2 videos. Pagan Trinity and Sun worship is used to deny Jesus Christ. So, where it gets interesting, I don't know much about this family, but world champion bodybuilder John Brown, I remember him growing up. His sons, AMON-RA Brown, Osiris Brown, the other one, Ecumenius, or whatever his name is, professional football players. You wonder, I don't know, you wonder about Nephilim bloodline. Are they bloodline? Descendants of Nimrod, possibly. I don't know. But interesting to name your children that. It would certainly look like some involvement in the occult. And of course, Nimrod, had set up the Tower of Babel, which many think was actually like a type of interdimensional portal, kind of like what we're going on with CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, right now. So, we see the depictions of the Tower of Babel, which was part of trying to establish a one world order, world political and religious system. It failed back then, but now we see it coming back the final time now, with the New World Order, and here on the doorstep of tribulation, with what we're going to have here after the rapture of a one world government with the one world leader, the Antichrist. And we see this commonly in professional sports. Here is Rasheed Wallace. If you remember him when he played, he's been retired for, man, I'm sure it's been well over 10 years, I think. But anyhow, he had this prominent tattoo on his right arm where you see Ra, or Osiris, the sun god, and the rays of the sun here. This occultic Egyptian god satanic tattoo, signifying no doubt that he's part of their fraternity, part of the mystery Babylon religion, the Masons. And we see this, commonly in professional sports Rasheed Wallace was not shy to show this. And even his name, Rashid, reads Rashid. I don't think that's an accident. Ra, as in the sun god, Ra, Sheed. And I've not done enough I haven't researched the phonetics behind that, so I don't know about his name, but I don't think that's an accident that name Ra's in there. And what do you know? He wore, the number 36. Huh. So where do we just see that? Huh. Scored the first touchdown of the season on 3rd and 6. Probably all coincidence, guys, just some real funny coincidences here. So, the first touchdown of the year from Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9-yard touchdown reception. Then we see his brother, Osiris, wearing the number 9, number of Satan. The first touchdown this season comes on 3rd and 6 from AMON-RA St. Brown. And then we see Rasheed Wallace wearing the number 36, just like 3rd and 6. 36, just like 3rd and 6. And, of course, the tattoo of Ra on his arm, once again, back when he was with Detroit, they won the championship in 2004. Once again, wearing that 36,666, signifying the Colt. Where am I going with this? Well, this all leads to this, who is going to be the world ruler during the 7-year tribulation, Barack Obama, who appears to be another descendant of Nimrod. So we see, the first man that tried to be, set up a one world system, politics, religion, and be the ruler of the one world government in Nimrod, who was a black man by all accounts. And now the final one, the Antichrist, who will be the world ruler during the 7-year tribulation before Jesus Christ comes back and obliterates him at the end of the 7 years at the Battle of Armageddon. So interesting there. And, let me say, I don't give a flying crap about race. It's all the same to me. I'm actually part Native American myself, Cherokee tribe. So, black, white, Hispanic, Indian, Asian. It's all the same, man. We're all in the same situation. You're either saved or lost. Those are the only two categories of humanity that matter. Are you saved or lost? Do you believe in the finished work of Jesus Christ, that his death, burial, and resurrection forgives your sins, past, present, future, and gives you eternal life? That's all that matters. You got two groups of humanity, saved or lost. But I just thought this was interesting. With Amon-Ra St. Brown, the brother Osiris, the father John Brown. You wonder about bloodline here with Nimrod. Nimrod obviously was called Osiris. Pretty interesting. We know Nimrod was a Nephilim, and on down the line to what looks to be the descendant of Nimrod, which will be the last one trying to set up the one world government, Barack Obama. So scripted NFL, man, it's really in your face what's going on. I sure hope you see it. So God bless everybody, and Lord willing, I'll talk to you again real soon.